Hey, I'm Naya. Today I have a video for you of a live duel between Prankit and Dragon Link. I'm gonna be playing Prankit and my husband is gonna be on Dragon Link, and I'm also gonna be commentating over it, and hopefully you see some of my mistakes or maybe learn something from the match, and that's it. Let's get started. Alright, so we're gonna be starting with the first duel of the match. I just wanted to say that I don't have a face cam turned on right now just because I felt like it's gonna be intrusive in the video. But if you want me to turn it on, because I plan on recording more with different decks and different opponents. So for this series, I guess, if you want me to turn on the face cam, I can do that, no problem. Just let me know down in the comments. So we rolled the dice and I won. So the opening hands are Router, 2 Cyphered, Red MD, and World Legacy Guard Dragon for him. And I opened 2 Lampseas, Pandemonium, Ghost Bell, and also Prankit's Place, which I proceeded to activate and use the effect on activation to search Dropsies. Then I normal summoned the Lampseas and linked off into Meow Meow, activating Lampseas effect. So you always resolve the first part of the effect of the Prankit first, and then you can optionally resolve the second part, which sometimes comes into play if you try to play around Nibiru or certain things. Right now I decided to resolve both parts of the effect and summon Fansies, and then link into Duro and use Chilling 1 Duro, Chilling 2 Fansies. Just because if for example your opponent imprims you or Veilers you on the Duro, then you can just send Pandemonium with Fansies, summon a monster, and then link into another Duro and add the Pandemonium back. So it's basically as if you haven't been disrupted. So I just sent pranks with Fansies since I wasn't disrupted, and I always like to get pranks as soon as I can because I play 1 copy, because I want a recursion and additional resources at the end of the turn. So I just sent pranks, and then, like I mentioned before, I decided to not resolve the second part of the effect of Fansies, but just search Pandemonium with Duro, just because Duro is the 4th summon. So if you already have access to all of the colors, then you don't need to summon with the second Prankit, basically. So I decided to not summon, but just get back from the graveyard pranks and also Fansies with Duro. And he drew World Legacy Guard Dragon for turn, which is kind of a trash draw because it's a hard once per turn and he can't do much with it. And especially since he has 2 copies of Cyphered also, it's just not a very fortunate hand for him. I just let the summon go through. I didn't activate Pandemonium or anything because I want him to waste as much resources as possible. He decided to go for the Cyphered effect to pitch Router and then get Noctivision and then also get an Router search, which is a good play if you draw Router and no way to summon. For example, he can get summoned if you control rocket monsters, but if you don't have any way to summon it, just pitch it with Cyphered, and that's a great player in order to plus. He just fetched Noctivision so he can summon it right now, as he linked summon Striker Dragon, chaining 2 his Noctivision to grant another body and just protect Striker Dragon from any hand trap, and then resolve it and search Boot Sector Launch. So at this point, basically with the Cyphered effect, he could have searched anything else. For example, like Tracer if he needed it directly. He could also search Black Dragon and go for that type of combo. Or maybe pitch Cyphered from hand, since he had it. But he still tried. He went into Romulus, chaining 1 Noctivision, chaining 2 Romulus, searching Ravine so you don't draw it with the Noctivision draw. And then he activated Ravine. He drew Veiler with Noctivision, which could have helped him before. But since I summoned Fansies, then if he disrupted me, I could have just sent Pandemonium. So the only difference would have been that I wouldn't have pranks in hand, which I could get in the next turn, for example. He just pitched Veiler since he doesn't need it now, and sent Levianeer. So right now, since we don't have LP, you can just send it and get it back with Cyphered, which he tried to do now, but I Ghost Belled him. So, and I didn't have just 2 pops, I also had the 3rd disruption for his place. Then he activated Boot Sector Launch and summoned Tracer from hand. And then with the Tracer, he's just gonna... Oh, he's gonna banish it. Okay, to summon Red MD. And then use Red MD effect and summon Cypher from hand. So Red MD can also summon from hand. That's not very common. And sometimes people don't even know it, but he used the effect now. And then on summon, I decided to use Pandemonium just because now he has enough link material to go into a 3-material Appaloosa, which I don't want it to happen. So I just needed to use Pandemonium, and he also wasn't locked with Tracer yet. So his play could have been Appaloosa at this point. I just summoned Butler, and I went Chainlink. 1 was Lampsies, was Fansies, 3 was Dropsies, and then 4 Field Spell, and 5 was Butler. Since he is an optional quick effect, he has to be Chainlink 5 at this point. I just popped his entire field, burned him for 500, gained 1000 life points. And then you also need to mill with the green. Which at this point, it doesn't really matter what you mill. I just mill a Field Spell, yeah. Basically, I guess you just mill so you can recycle things back with pranks, you know, as many times as you want. And just draw additional cards. I decided to summon out 2 Dropsies just to be able to go into Toad on the following turn. So right now he basically has nothing. It's just sad because he drew 2 copies of Guard Dragon and then the second copy of Cypher. So those 2 could have been any other cards, maybe extenders, something that he hasn't already drawn. So right now he just decides to play, maybe break my board. But no, he's just gonna activate World Legacy Guard Dragon. Try to go a bit further. He can summon back. I think the Cypher is his only target. Yeah. Pretty sure it's his only target. So he just summons back Cypher. But concedes, yeah. I mean, you can't do much. Especially with this hand and no disruptions on my turn. He can't really do much. So now hopefully the second duel goes better for him. He's just gonna opt to go first. And his hand is Levianeer, Cypher, 2 Ash, and a Tiding, which is also, which is actually great because you have 2 disruptions that are great against Prankets, you know, Tiding and Ash, and also a 1-card combo. I drew Fansies, Pandemonium, Place, and Lampsies, so no hand traps, so he can just freely combo off. He decided to use Cypher to search Black Dragon, and then just summon it by banishing Cypher and linking into Striker Dragon. And then Chainlink 1 is gonna be probably Striker. Yeah, Chainlink 1 Striker, Chainlink 2 Black. Just for the Striker to be a bit more protected. So he's gonna search White and Boot Sector. Now at this point, basically his only play is to summon White. And then when you have 2 bodies on board in Dragon Link right now, you can just decide to go into Spheres or Romulus, whichever, you know, path you want to choose, whichever monster and additional resources you may need. But right now, I'm pretty sure he has to go into Romulus because he doesn't have access to Tracer yet. And that's very important. So if you want to play around Nibiru or be able to play through Nibiru, then you can summon Spheres at this point. But right now, he only has access basically to Tracer if he decides to summon Romulus and then, yeah, use the effect to search Ravine. Yeah, that's the only option. So he's just gonna search Ravine and then most likely send Absterrouter and search Tracer, activate Boot, you know, go from there. We'll see how I can play through the board. So he's just gonna pitch Ash since he already has one, send Absterrouter and then search Tracer with it. I'm always so skeptical about discarding hand traps for cost because you basically let your opponent know that you have a second copy. But sometimes you don't and you just bluff, I don't know. Maybe you just need to discard a hand trap. But it just looks weird to me always. So at this point I just guessed he has another Ash. So he activated Boot Sector, used the effect to summon from hand, and then with the Tracer, popped Boot Sector. So right now he's locked into Dark Monsters. So that's good for me, you know, at this point I'm happy because I know that he's locked, so he can't go into Spheres. But at this point I didn't know he drew Tiding, so even if he's locked into Darks and he can't go into Spheres, he still has tidying, so most likely my normal summon is just getting bounced. He decided to summon Recharger with Tracer just to go into Synchro Place, and then summon Chaos Ruler. And he milled Chamber Dragon Maid, Chaos Space, Rocket Synchron, Quick Launch, and also Gamma. So he can add any of the 3 monsters he milled. He decides for Rocket Synchron. And now Chaos Space is in Grave, and that's great because he just has another draw, and he's just gonna use it right now to dig even deeper through his deck. Putting back Black Dragon and drawing Red MD, which is an amazing extender. So right now he has different options. He can just summon Red MD, he can also go Levianeer just like he decided. So now all you need to worry about basically is Ruler, because if I have, for example, Twisters to combat Tidying, he's probably gonna establish at least 1 negate. So he's not worried about that, but he wants to snipe Ruler in case I have it. Which obviously I don't have anything to play with. But I still decide to stay until the end of the turn, you know, try to play. He's just gonna snipe Lampsies, which is fine. Probably the best case scenario at this point. And now he has different plays, a lot of plays basically. He can activate Red MD's effect after he summons it. Which probably he's gonna go for Rocket Synchron since he can go into Hot Red if he wants. That's probably gonna be the best play for him, because if you go into Hot Red, for example, right now with Chaos Ruler, he can just revive it back. Yeah. And then potentially go into an XYZ. So the best choices right now are probably the Sky Prison and also a Zombie Stein. Just because, you know, they combat the most decks, but Sanapont is just, it's not very, you know, applicable to the meta at this point, I think. Not many decks summon from the grave, at least decks that you're worried about. So he decided to play Zombie Stein, which he summoned right now by summoning back Chaos Ruler. And right now I'm panicking a bit, just reading it, making sure what's happening. Because if he bounces my normal summon when I have Pandemonium in hand, I want that, you know, I want him to go -1, and that's all good for me. But if he has any other negates, and just to negate the Pandemonium, which I'm trying to activate, then I'm just, you know, in a bad place, basically. So he right now established 2 negates. One is Hot Red, activating the effects of a face-up card on field, and then the same with Zombie Stein, he has to also discard a card and switch himself to defense. So I decided to first activate Place to bait out a negate, you know, at least. And he decides to go for Tidying. So if you don't have any cards in hand, you need to go for Tidying first, just to have the cost for Zombie Stein. But right now he has it, so it's no problem. He can discard whatever he wants. I also drew Ash for turn, which, you know, would have been great a turn sooner, but it didn't happen. So now I have to normal summon, and he's gonna Ash the Lampsies, which really, you know, it really knocked it out of the park for him, basically, because he has even more disruptions, just like I did before with the Ghost Bow. I just tried to activate Pandemonium. It's probably not gonna go through in a million years, which it doesn't. And I just passed, you know, I'm brave, I'm still fighting. Which, if we were playing, you know, by actual time rules, I wouldn't have done that, obviously. But right now, you know, let's just see what he does. So he draws Quick Launch for turn. And since he milled Chamber before, that's great, because he already has Tidying in Grave. So that's his extender. Yeah, so for the first action of the turn, he just goes Tidying effect. Yeah, I showed him that, that I drew the Ash, which didn't matter. And he showed me he has Quick Launch. So he has a lot of extenders to just go into Boros Sword and just kill me, basically. Because the Meow Meow is not gonna withstand that. So we move on to game 3. I obviously decided to go first, and I opened a Judgment, which is incredible. And I also opened Bell, Roxy's, Dropsy's, and also Pandemonium. And he opened an Ash, which he activated right now, but it doesn't matter. If you open Pandemonium, Ash basically doesn't matter. He also opened Phantasme, Twisters, which is gonna be probably met with Judgment, and also Cypher and Chaos Space. So his hand is amazing, but you know, since I have the Judgment, go into Rocket Rite, and you can activate the Prankets in Grave, and then Rocket Rite as Chainlink 2 to protect it, since Rocket Rite can be legally activated on the first turn, even though it can't attack. So just Chainlink 1 Roxy's, Chainlink 2 Rocket Rite. I banish Bell for Roxy's effect. Draw card, which is Roxy's, you know, fine, it's Roxy's. Just a Prankets for follow-up. And then resolve Roxy's fully by summoning Fansies. Just like I said before, as the second or third in this case, but as the second summon before Duro. So if you do get Veilered or Impermed, you need to mill Pandemonium, because otherwise you probably cannot play. So just activating Rocket Rite effect, summoning Roxy's in water. A Ghost Bell right now would have hurt so much. And then link into Duro and go Chainlink 1 Duro, Chainlink 2 Fansies. And then Chainlink 3 is gonna be Phantasme, so he resolves it first. Drawing, wow, Phantasme and Cypher, pretty horrible draws actually. Yeah, he just puts Phantasme back, it's not gonna do much. So he was most likely just digging for Nibiru, since right now I had to go with Pandemonium because I was ashed. So I'm playing into Nibiru. But thankfully he doesn't have it. So just resolving Fansies now. I'm gonna mill. Yeah, I remember thinking quite a lot, because I knew I already have Pandemonium in Grave, so I just wanted to get all of the spells in rotation. So I sent Pranks, summoned Lampseas, and then searched the field spell with Duro. So now I have access to all of the spells, and with the field spell I can get an additional body, just for later and for fusing. So right now, you know, the most logical play would just be the effect of Duro, or maybe field spell and search. Yeah, I activate the field spell and just search a color, whichever one basically. Because right now we have every single one on the field or in the grave already. Yeah, I searched the Lampseas. So now he's just relying on Twin Twisters basically, since I'm going, you know, the full combo, the fullest combo that Prankets can make. I'm gonna activate Duro effect, adding back. One of the ads has to be Pandemonium. Yeah, and then the Pranks. Pranks is a great right now because I already have enough monsters and cards in Grave to actually resolve the effect in end phase. If you can hear any noises, I'm not quite sure if you can, but our neighbors just decided to turn on their entire bathroom, so that's what we've been dealing with for the last day, and they're just drilling and going very hard, you know, with the bathroom. So I'm sorry about that if you can hear it. So I just link into Bow Wow, and right now I'm resolving Lampseas effect since I haven't yet. I just burn him and then decide to summon Dropsies. And I did it with the Prankets Pranks token, because this card was basically free, so I can have additional bodies on board. I wanted Roxy's on board specifically, just in case I needed to go into Dweller, for example, against him, which right now is not possible, but on the following turn, obviously, because right now I'm locked with Pandemonium. So I just set Judgment, I set Pandemonium, and right now I'm just resolving Pranks in end phase, recycling back Duro, Rock, and also Rocket Rite. So you need to be able to shuffle all of the 3 back, in case it's something you didn't know, I don't know, but I'm just telling you, just so you know, you need to shuffle all of the 3 back in order to resolve the effect. So if one of them gets banished, for example, you don't get the draw. So he draws for turn, drawing Gamma, which could have been nice before, but before he activated Phantasme, obviously. So I activate Bow Wow in standby phase, adding back, and then he activates Twisters, which obviously is gonna be met with Judgment. He didn't know. You can see his hands, he just goes like, alright, so you have it, alright, fine. So I Judgment. Now, right now I'm at 4k, I still haven't gained with Dropsy since I was that Ash last turn. So he's just gonna try to play at this point. Normal summon Seifert. No, I can let it go through. It's just gonna get him, what, a black dragon? You know, maybe he pitches something from hand before, like Rider. But yeah, I'm just gonna go Pandemonium. I realize he doesn't have much right now. He has 2 cards in hand, and I have two Raigekis and an Ash. So it's safe to just go Pandemonium right now. Deny him from getting any additional resources. And again, Chainlink 1 Lampsies, 2 Fansies, 3 Dropsies, 4 Field Spell, and 5 Butler. Burning him, gaining life. And also my monsters are now at 500 more, so Butler is at 35 and Roxy's is also at 2k. I send a place and summon out another Roxy's and a Dropsies and a Fansies. So that's why I tried to set up Roxy's before, just to have 2 level 4s on board, since I can go into Dweller if he decides to let me go on turn, or if he scoops, it doesn't matter, but just in this matchup I decided to set up for Dweller later. So he activates Chaos Space as his last resort, which gets ashed. And right now he doesn't have anything else. I can just literally just, you know, turn everything into attack, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, that was it for the match. I hope you learned anything, you know, maybe you found the Dragon Link combos interesting, since the Prankist things were sort of basic. But yeah, if you enjoyed, if you liked it, if you learned, if you know, just chill with me and listened and watched, I'm thankful. I hope you stop by again, you know, sub, like, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.